Hey, how's it going? And today I wanted to do an update to this tutorial I did about 4 months ago called using NPC behavior to make a custom object follow a player inverse code. And let me show you what I've got right now is I still have the same exact code that I had in that tutorial, but instead of having that ball, I just have a chicken following me. So if I want to show you that this works, see, so wherever I go, the chicken goes with me. Okay, so it's still, I want to show you that it works. Okay, so I'm going to exit out of the game real fast. And instead of making a ball like I did before, I just went into the blueprint class and got a skeleton mesh and added a chicken. That's the only difference. And otherwise, it's exactly the same as presented in that tutorial. But as you may know, that with this latest version of verse 32, they have made some changes, and one of the changes that they made, if I come into the code here, here's the original code, here's the NPC behavior code, and here's the other code, so there's no errors here, but there is a warning here, because if we click here and I go control, you'll see that this is get creative objects with tag is being deprecated. So it still works. I'm in verse 1 now. They have versions of verse. So they have verse 0 now and verse 1. So this is verse 1. So it's working in verse 1, but I'm getting this error. So what it says here is deprecated, used find creative objects with tag. So, okay, that seems simple enough. So this was returning an array, and now this find returns what's called a generator. And I just did a tutorial about that, but I want to show you some problems that arise. We're going to get this error here that says no overload of function operator on that method matches the provided arguments. So what this error means is that you see where it says find creative objects with tag, and you'll notice how there's 3 functions with the same name. That's what overloading is. Overloading is when you have 2 or more functions with the same name, but they accept different data types in. So in this case, what it's saying is it takes in a creative device type, a creative device base type, and an entity type, plus a tag. So it essentially looks like it's taking in a tuple. It's saying that the data that I'm sending in there is not matching anything. But I think the bigger problem is it's just not even finding what I'm sending in. So for some reason, and I don't know why, this NPC behavior class, I cannot make a direct reference to my creative device. But now this tag's deprecated, and now it's saying it's not finding it and the data's mismatching. How I resolve this, and I want to clarify that there's many ways that this could be resolved. So right now this is just the way that I'm resolving it. If you have a better way of doing it, then that's fine. But how we're going to resolve this is by creating a global variable and making that connection. So if we use a global variable, then this NPC behavior will be able to see this creative device. So let's go into my creative device, and the first thing that we're going to do, and I just did a tutorial about global variables, so I'll leave a link to that in the description. We're going to go here and we're going to go var my map, and we go weak map, and then we go parentheses, and we're going to use the session as the key. And there's only one instance of a session per round. Creative device equals map curly braces. So here we've created a global reference. Notice it's at the module level. So every class in this project can see this variable. A weak map has less features than a regular map does. It has no length, and we can't iterate over it. There's some other things, but I have a tutorial about that. Okay, so we've got that done. Then what we're going to do is now set the value of this. So we have what the map, the key and the value types for this map, but we don't have anything set in here. So the first thing we're going to do is set the key for this map, and it's the key that will give us access to the value. And what we're trying to do is get a reference to our creative device that the NPC behavior will see. So I'm going to come down here to on begin play, and we have to set this up conditionally because it can fail. So we're just going to go if And then we want to set that key value. We're going to go my map, and we go brackets because this is a failable expression. We're going to go get session and parentheses, and then it just simply go equals. And what do we want a reference to? Whoops, equals. We want a reference to this creative device. So we just can type in self. And then we don't have to do anything, so we could just put curly braces here. But, you know, if we wanted to feel better about things, we could print out a string, but I'm just going to leave it like that. And that's all we have to do here. Okay, so in this section, we're going to rewrite this code, and it can get a little tricky in here, so I'll try to go as slow as I can. So the first thing I want to do is just push this down, and then up here, the first thing we want to do is get a reference to our device reference. So we have to do that conditionally. So we're going to go if, and we're going to have to give it a name. So I'm just going to call it device ref, and we go colon equals, and then we just call our my map, and then we do the brackets, and we go get session, and we use parentheses. And if we succeed in getting that reference, then we want to go ahead and look for that tag. So remember how we were getting that error here about overload, and it didn't like what we were sending it? So what we can do is I can bring this up here now, back up, bring it back down here. What I can do now is, now that I have that device reference, I can go device ref dot find, and then if you find it, what I want to do is I could leave it called tagged actors. So look, I'm getting a big error here. Let's see, why am I getting a big error? Oh, because this got pushed in too far. Scope does become a little bit of an issue here, so you have to be careful about that. And let's go ahead and push this in 1, 2, 3, 4, so everything can see everything. And I want to probably push this in too. So let me push that in, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this should line up here. So now we're still getting that same, we're getting some errors there with just the way things are worded. So what I'm saying, go get the value in the map, which is a reference to our device, and assign that to device ref. Now with that reference, I can tell it to go find that device and see if it's tagged with the name, and it will be. And there's only one, the crazy thing is there's only one device in the game, but there's no other way to get the actual reference in here, so we're using tags to do it. So maybe that will change in the future. And then whatever you bring back, call it tagged actors. But just for clarification about what we're getting, I want to type in here, it's a generator of, and it's bringing actually back creative object underscore interfaces. And I like to do that just because it can be unclear about what it is. Creative object interface is what it's bringing back. So sometimes I don't like that colon equals operator because it's not clear. It can be confusing about what's exactly happening. And so we'll leave it called tag actors. So this tagged actors is our generator. So now we have a generator, and it's going to go through, but there's just one item here. Now we're getting an error here. So we still have to we don't really need this if statement here because we have a for statement here. So we can move this function into our for statement. So now we've got a generator, and it's going to be spitting out values, giving them the name tagged actor, which is just a generic kind of placeholder name. Then I'm going to go comma, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit delete and bring this if statement up, and we'll call it my device here. Can I call it my device? Let's see. Get my creative device. So as it comes in, the tagged actor comes in, we're doing a dynamic cast from a creative object interface, or a creative object actually, into a My Creative device. And if that passes, if that succeeds, then go ahead and set the return the option reference. So this should actually be our reference again. So now I'm just curious, I don't know why I'm getting this error. So let's see, what is this saying? Ambiguous identifier. So now it doesn't like that it's finding a duplicate name somewhere. So that's because of another project I did. I've done this several times today. So I'm going to change the name just to device 1. So that's that error. You shouldn't get an error like that because it's finding somewhere else in here that name somewhere. So, but that clears it all up. So as a matter of fact, instead of calling it My Device 1, I'll just change the name to This Device. And so it's a little, I don't know, it's a little different how to resolve this. And like I said, if I find a better way to do it, we're calling my map the key and getting the value here. Once we have that value, then we can find creative and specify, look for creative devices. So if I hover over it, you see it's going to be searching for creative devices with that tag. But there's only one in the scene with that tag. And then it's going to return a generator of the creative object interface. And so this generator we put inside of a for loop, and now it goes through however many there is. There's only one, so it just goes through once. And then once it pulls that reference out, it does a dynamic cast from the creative object class to the My Creative device class. And if it passes this test, then assign that value to this device. And this device is our actual reference to our verse device. And then here we assign it to found device, and then we pull it out of the container, and then that's our return value. When this get game device function is called, it's going to return My Creative device, which is a reference to our creative device, our verse device. So it's a little tricky, but this works. So let's see that this works. So I'm sorry that this took a little longer than I expected. So let's build the verse code. And we don't get any errors, that's good. And let's go push those changes. It says it's updated. So let's see if it works. Keep playing. Start game. There's a chicken. And there it goes. So it's working. Yeah, so all I can say is this is the way I got it to work for right now, and this could very well change in the future. So anyway, I hope you found it helpful. Take care, have a great day, and I'll talk to you next time.